Dear listener, you are now tuned into In My Concert Era. Get ready to rock and roll the night away as these two bands bring their punk rock vibes on tour. He's toured with big bands like James and Catfish and the Bottlemen, and he's even performed at Glastonbury. Here he is playing indie rock with an 80s style. This is Tommy Smith. He's only 22 years old, and he's already doing great things, including selling out his latest tour and releasing his 6th EP, Put a Record on Tommy. I last saw him live 3 years ago when he was only 19, and he hadn't quite discovered his style yet. I mean, he wore the most basic white clothes, that classic blue jeans, white t-shirt look with the short back and sides trim that every boy in England has had at some point. Now he goes for the 80s look. You know, the suspenders, the patterned shirts, and curly hair. All while his music is very modern rock. At least that's what I think. He's become way more confident and comfortable performing. I'm excited to see what's next for him. When I attended his gig at the Lower Third, it's near Tottenham Court Road, I imagined a crowd my age, which would make sense, right? I've never felt more surprised than I was here seeing all these blokes fill up the venue. I didn't think all his fans were middle-aged. Surely someone as young as Tom would have a young audience. If only I could see any. It must be from all the dad bands he's supported before. He had a brilliant set, showcasing 5 psychedelic tunes from EP5 and the new EP. He's one worth checking out. Formed in 2020 while attending the music school BIM Bristol, Honey Buzz is an indie pop quartet influenced by the likes of Wolf Alice and Taylor Swift. Their melancholic pop rock and indie fusion made for the perfect support act. From Lydia's beautiful vocals to the upbeat instrumentals, I really enjoyed them. Here is part of one song for you all. Now back to Tommy Smith's set, starting with Beautiful Way, an electrifying indie rhythm. Not my favourite song, but a great one nonetheless. I just think it has such a lovely tune. It feels so peaceful compared to some of his other stuff. The other song I'd like to mention is Little Bits. He didn't perform much old stuff, which is understandable when you have 2 newer EPs to promote. So it was lovely to hear this song, and 1 or 2 other earlier hits. 4 times of seeing Tommy Smith live, and even if I was the youngest person in the crowd, it sure felt like it. I could never get bored. Cheers to that. Dublin-based band mixing traditional Irish tunes and heavy metal for a folky rock vibe. This is The Scratch. All I can tell you is they're not my vibe. If you've tuned in before, you already know what music I'm into, and well, it's not this. There's no Henry Moody sad boy song, Cortina's rowdy lad anthems, and certainly no Olivia Rodrigo, Why Do Men Suck. I went to keep my dad company because he had 2 tickets and needed a gig buddy. Also, I won't turn down a gig invite. You never know how much fun you might have. That band could be your new favourite. Just not this one. Sorry, The Scratch and your fans. Saying that, it was sick. For a non-metal fan, I was blown away by the band's display of high energy and that raucous crowd. There was a constant stream of headbanging and mosh pits as these Irish lads rocked the night away. It got so crazy that a security guard had to catch me from falling, and I wasn't moshing. They managed to sway so far to the left, where I was stood, that I got caught in it all. Safe to say, I won't stand so close to the front if I ever see them again. Which I probably won't. I think I'll stick to my Tamer Cortina's gigs. Thank you. My dad was enjoying himself at least. I'm amazed his arthritic knees survived, seeing as he couldn't resist a mosh pit or two. I don't know how he did it, though he was feeling it the next morning. But that's his problem, not mine. The Scratch picked a fantastic spot act, The Ran, spelt W-R-A-N, which I learnt is an Irish word. And they're from County Waterford in Ireland. Up the Dacia, as my mum would say. It felt as though they were in Lord of the Rings, displaying such medieval fantasy vibes. It wasn't quite metal like the Scratch, but with the band's banjo and bodhrán, it definitely illuminated Irish trad music. You can really feel it here. Just listen. I cannot remember the names of their songs, but they all brought lots of high energy, trad, punk, and metal to the mix. The one song I hadn't forgotten, partly because it was the only song I checked out beforehand, was called Cheeky Beatard. I'm obviously not going to say the full name because it is a bit rude. Anyway, here are two of their tracks. The first one is very metal, and the crowd went crazy for it, while the second has a more trad folky flair to it. They also did a fantastic cover of Ace of Spades by Motorhead, which the crowd was mental for. My dad was straight back in the mosh pit for that one. See, he just can't help himself. But I'm not the one waking up with terrible knees and terrible legs the next morning. That was Sunderland boy Tommy Smith at the Lower Third, followed by Irish band The Scratch at Electric Ballroom. If you like what you heard, then give them both a listen. The Scratch are performing in London again next year, in Kentish Town, but I won't be there. Once was enough. Up next is Lucy Spraggan, so I'll catch up with you all after that gig. See you later.